How's the stash?
Glorious.
That's what I'm talking about.
Live from downtown Nashville, Tennessee.
This is StacheCast. Let's go!
Welcome to our ridiculous sports show.
Hello, everyone.
It's a frat party at a golf course.
That was one hell of an intro. I enjoyed every minute of that.
Come on, do you even want to win?
He's like running into a 12-story building.
You want to talk about a whooping on national television?
I'm not playing for the next 2 hours. Bring me some chicken.
StacheCast, baby.
Hello and welcome to StacheCast, presented by Nashville Stash from downtown Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you all for joining us. We are so glad that you're here. Today's episode is all about the Stanley Cup Finals and hockey. My man from LA is in town, Tom Watkins, and for this hockey episode that is proudly presented by our friends down at Southern Collective Spirit Co. Custom bourbon in a custom bottle. Visit them at southerncollectivespiritco.com and tell them that StacheCast sent you. As always, I'm joined by my crew here in Nashville, the beautiful K Love. Always glad to have you here to keep us together. And from Los Angeles, California, the professor, Alex Alper. Glad to have you back. And don't let me forget, I want to circle back to get your thoughts on last week's guest, Avery Zweig, because I know you have quite a bit to say about that. But finally, we're stoked to have our guest on the show this week. He's a personal friend of Alex and I, amazing human, alumni of Quinnipiac University, where he played hockey and held an NCAA record, which we'll talk about shortly. Of course, Quinnipiac we want to mention who they just won their first national championship in school history in this year's Frozen Four in Tampa. Round of applause to those boys getting it done. Congrats to them. But welcome to the show, my man. The one, the only Tom Watkins is here. Let's go. Welcome to the show. Let's go. How you been, buddy?
Glad to be here. Finally, I was waiting for the invite.
Yeah, it's been, coordinating schedules. You're a busy guy. Try to track down. You have you had some guests in town this weekend. So I'm surprised. I appreciate you jumping on today after that tornado just left town. So good for you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it was a long weekend. Had some in-laws in town. About 13 of them total.
13 in-laws. That's a lot of moms and dads.
It's like a family reunion.
Sisters, brothers, the whole kids, the whole thing.
A lot of kids. Tons of kids.
Okay.
Yep. Went to Disneyland yesterday. That place is brutal.
Sponsor us.
It's not that bad if it's not hot out, and the weather was pretty temperate yesterday, so we got through it.
Because there's, at some point there's nowhere to hide, right? Like it's just baking your ass and standing in line.
Yeah, you're just like, it's such a shit show how many people go to that place. I can't believe how much money that they must make. Yeah. Every time I've been there, it's just incredible.
Yeah, and I got a guy that I work with that there's his family. They go to Disney World quite a bit. They love it. It's that's one of the things that they love to do. And there's a lot of people that go down there and they spend a lot of money staying in those hotels and buying all the passes and jumping from park to park. And you go down there and you get going. I think it's like anywhere else. You could probably find some deals, but if you go, if you just go hey, let's go to Disney World, you're gonna get your ass for some money. You're gonna be wishing you probably stayed at the house and watched a couple movies.
That's not even including the food and beverage costs.
And they don't have alcoholic drinks. Like they're impossible to find. I think they're in the back near Star Wars or something like that. But
there's one drink stand in the whole park.
Yeah.
They don't have don't they have Harry Potter? They don't have like a Harry Potter world.
That's Universal.
Is it?
Wrong deal.
Park.
Tom's got to go to California Adventure at Disneyland to find the booze. They have lots of booze there, but you got to go to the other park. What was your favorite ride?
Yeah. Let's see. We did a lot of the little kid rides because our little ones are so short they can't get on the fun ones.
Oh, that was me until like 5 years ago. Yep.
That's still you, fool.
That it is.
I don't know what the best one was. I think we did the Star Wars simulator with my daughter. It was pretty funny because she'd never been in one. She had the 3D glasses on, and I looked over at her, and she was
freaking out. Yeah. So the last time I went to one of these kind of parks, I was a kid. My younger brother was. I can't remember ages, but I want to say that he's probably 4, 5, 6, something like that, somewhere in there. And I'm like 9 or 10, and we're right in that age range. And the ride at the time was called Alien Encounter. And it was, you go through and it was this space program that had this, it could basically beam aliens down from this other planet to analyze them and like to learn about them. And they were bringing people in to go and see, the aliens when they in this big glass chamber. So you sit in this circular auditorium, it straps you in, and it's this big seat that you literally can't see the person next to you. It's fairly dark, but it's an auditorium you expect it to be. All of a sudden this thing comes in and you can see this 10-foot tall, like, monster in this thing. Like, it's smoke's coming, it's like, holy shit, this is intense. And I'm a little kid, but I'm like, this is I'm freaking out a little bit. My little brother is
Heat his pants.
Is next to me, and my mom is on the other side of him, and my dad's on the end, right? So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, like, the glass breaks and the lights go out, and this monster has escaped this tube, and we're strapped into this fucking chair. And I'm just like, oh my God. And it gets quiet. You can hear him like going, doom, doom. And all of a sudden, like, the thing like jerks down on you like that. Like, it's like he's walking on your shoulders. And as soon as that happened, my brother, his ass came off the seat as far as his little body could take him. He was just, get me out of here, dude. He was freaking out. And I'm locked in. I can't even see it. I can just see his legs going crazy. And of course, I'm dying laughing at this point. I can't stop. And then the thing like has this like hot breath and all this kind of stuff, like, that you can like hear, and like it's like breathing on you. And Nathan's too little for a lot of this stuff to get him, because if he'd have felt that breath on his back of his neck, he might have died. He might have it might have been it right there, 6 years old, just like that. But that was my last memory of being in one of those amusement parks. So that's pretty funny. So
was that Disneyland? Because I think I missed that right.
It was Disney World. It was the one in Florida for sure.
I got you.
Oh, wow.
I think that one's better.
I mean,
Disneyland can fit in Disney World's parking lot.
Really?
Shit.
Yeah, that's how big they are. Yeah,
wow. They've got this monorail system back and forth to all the different parks.
A monorail?
It's a whole city down there. It's crazy. But back to you, Tom. What are you up to now? I mean, let's go back to Quinnipiac. You played hockey there back in the day. When did you go there?
2001 to 2005.
Okay. And did you guys have any close calls to the national championship then, or were you guys just
the closest we got when I was there, freshman year, we got to the final 16. So we made it to the actual tournament, which was really cool.
Yeah. What was it? So I mean, obviously we all watched March Madness and we know what that's kind of like. We know what football is like. We're watching baseball unfold now. The hockey tournament, it's 64 teams. It's still the same format, but are you playing away games and home games, or are you going to a specific rink and playing a couple of games there and then going to the next one? Like, what's the format
for the tournament?
Yeah,
there's regionals. So there's like an Eastern regional, a Western regional, a Midwest regional. Most of the time it's like Boston, Denver, Pittsburgh sometimes has one.
Gotcha.
Minnesota or North Dakota up there.
So you played there, and you played with quite a few folks that went on to play in the NHL or somewhere else. But what was your story? Because you had a record while you were there that stood for some time, and I believe it was correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, NCAA record for most penalty minutes. Is that accurate,
Tom?
So it wasn't the NCAA record of all time, but during that year, I was definitely the highest penalized player.
Oh, so you crushed it by a lot that year. So you were just beating everybody's ass out there. Is that basically the way that it went down? Were you?
And I didn't even know it. The way I found out, we were playing. I don't know. We were away somewhere. I got like my second penalty of the game. In the penalty box, sometimes they're across from the bench, sometimes they're right next to the bench. This one was right next to the bench, so I'm skating, head down from my bench. My coach goes, "God damn it, Watkins, most penalized player in the fucking the whole country," or something like that. everybody on my bench, all my buddies just started cracking up.
Yeah, just laughing
It
their ass
stopped
off.
the coach even more.
Hey, that's all good, man.
But it's the
So-
same coach, right? Like how long is that coach been there? What's his name? Give him some pub.
Yeah, Rand Pecknold, and he was my coach. He's the coach that just won, and he had been there, God, like 5 years before I got there, I think.
So he's been there 25 years or so, something like that.
Yeah, he's not going
Give or
anywhere.
take.
He
Not
loves it
after-
there. Connecticut's a good place for him. His wife works down in New York City, so they've got a good thing going on, and he's kicking ass. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Like you said, congrats to those guys on their first national championship. So what'd you do after, cause you're from Colorado originally. Yep.
Yep.
So you end up in Connecticut playing hockey. Then what happens after that? You end up in LA somewhere. Where'd you end up after that?
Long Beach.
So you went
Yep.
straight to Long Beach. What took you to Long Beach? Real estate?
So my college roommate, also my teammate, his brother was the regional manager of the company that I started working for right after college. He's like, "Do you want to move to California and sell commercial real estate?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't even know what commercial real estate was. I'm like, but moving to California sounds good to me.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I've been out here ever since. Did a short stint in Vegas a couple years ago, but moved back here.
Same.
I thought you did a thing. I thought you were in like Minnesota or something for a hot minute. Did I dream that?
Yeah, you dream that.
There was
I
no
got-
professional
I got it, like-
semi-pro. You didn't go big. You didn't get drafted. Did they even have a draft then? I guess they did. We're
No,
not that
I
old.
had plenty of calls, like the East Coast Hockey League, which is a minor league. There's a bunch of teams that wanted me to come try out, but honestly, by the time, so I graduated college when I was 25 years old, because hockey's a little different. After high school, you play junior hockey. Most people do,
Right.
for 1 or 2, 3 years before you play college. It's like a
I didn't know
feeder, I
that.
guess, into colleges, and it's called there's a couple of different junior teams. So I went to college when I was 20 years old. I turned 21 freshman year, which was awesome.
Yeah, you did.
But I didn't graduate till I was 25 years old, and by that time, man, I've been playing hockey.
You were a full size man, dude. You were
Yeah,
a big
well,
piece of meat.
It's a
coming
full
through
size
there.
man his freshman year.
That's what I'm saying. When you got to the league, you were like running people over.
Yeah,
I'm like, how's that even?
Because you're
work?
you're rolling around what 6'4", 240, something like that.
yep, about 245. Fighting weight's
Yeah.
probably 225, but
Oh,
that
wait.
happens.
Same.
Dude. Okay. So when you get to California and then you end up working your way up from Long Beach towards the South Bay area, which Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach,
Yep.
Dondo Beach area. And that's where your life and my life finally made a cross.
Mine too.
And Alex as well.
And
Alex, well, it was Alex's fault first.
True.
Because Alex lived at 208. And so just to give you guys a little backstory, there's a guy named Brant. Shout out to Brant, wherever the hell you are. Hopefully you're alive. Jesus
R.I.P.
Christ.
R.I.P.
Whatever it is you're doing, bud, I hope you're doing well. Head up. And I meet Brant. Me and Brant hit it off. He moves in with Alex and their other friend Todd. And this is
James.
I can and James Forbes. Oh my God. I can only describe this house as a frat party. Like it is Animal House
Easy
on the beach for sure. And just so happens that right across the street lives this mild mannered, like really kind of chilled out, but big as hell for no reason, redheaded dude. It's just like, hey, what's up, man? You guys want to go down to you guys want to get, and he's like, he keeps saying, you guys want to go down here and get a schooner. And I'm like, what are we talking about? I don't know what a schooner is. I know that's a boat, but I'm like, what are we talking about? So we go down to the Hermosa Beach Yacht Club and get these
It's a
giant
bar,
beers,
not a
which
yacht
is
club.
which is not a yacht club. It is a bar that is a
That's what I was
dive
going.
bar. And we get these giant beers. And that's where I meet Tom, who is the next door neighbor to this Animal House frat house that Alex lives in. And I gotta be honest. What did you when Alex? Because you lived there when Tom moved in, right? Across the street.
Yeah.
So what? Give me what was it like when Tom moved in across the street? Was it like instant connection, or did it take a while for him to warm up to y'all?
God, Tom, honestly, I don't even remember. I think I was probably drunk or traveling. Do you remember? I know you like doubled the intensity, but it was already intense enough having crazy Tom or crazy Todd and James in the house already. And then you add like Brant, who ends up being like the partier of the year in the local paper. Like it was.
Yeah, he won awards for it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So it was
irritating.
I recall how I met those guys. Like, of course I knew them because every time that I would pull into my house, they're out on the patio. Their patio overlooked the ocean. It was sweet. It was a good spot.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But when I moved in there, the reason I moved to Hermosa is because my girlfriend at the time, she was working in Santa Monica. So we were living in Long Beach. I was working in Long Beach, so my life's easy. But her every day driving up to Santa Monica, if traffic, the 405 sucks. So she would like lose her mind every day. So she's like, we got to move closer. I was like, all right, cool. Knew nothing about Hermosa. Really ended up being like the coolest town in the world, as you guys know.
Neverland.
People can't grow up
at the time, but unfortunately things didn't work out. But when I first moved in, it was just me and her, and we'd come home and we'd see all these idiots across the street. I'm like, those guys are jackasses.
Yelling all the time.
Is that guy getting a keg delivered at 1 a.m.? We should probably go over there.
We ended up breaking up, and then I was just kind of there by myself. And so the guys started becoming a little more friendly. Like James would come over, hey, you want to have a beer? I'm like, yeah, I still think you guys are fucking dorks, but I'll have a beer with you. But sooner than later, we all became really good friends, and obviously Alex and I still are, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really fun time down there. There was never a plan, but there was always a plan, and it was always, start off and go down to Barnacles and then just hit the pier and see what was going on and end up wherever we ended up. And we always ended up back at 208 on that balcony overlooking the ocean and, having a good time. But we had a lot of good times, guys. Yeah, that was back in our younger days when I still had hair and everybody still had a little bit more energy in the evenings. We wasn't excited about bedtime as we are now. But
I got to tell you, when I go back there, because I go up there for work still every once in a while, you get over that hill on 190th and you see Hermosa. Every time my stomach's like,
oh,
it's like, we're not going back here, are we?
Oh, it was rough. But I mean, the thing about it is that it was, for me, you could walk everywhere, everywhere was right there. You could walk. And that was a problem because when you knew you didn't have to, because I mean, Uber we didn't have it back then, but that wouldn't even have been an option down there. Everybody walked everywhere. Exactly. But yeah, walking back up that hill though, because at one point I lived up off beyond the Vons, like way up past almost PCH. It was
PCHs.
Way up there.
Yep.
So by that last little leg up that hill was pretty rough. It would sober your ass up pretty quick, especially when you're in jeans in the summer.
But the South Bay, also very well known these days, and it's gotten way fancier since us degenerates live there, is now the largest conglomeration of sports, athletes, entertainers. Like everybody lives in the hood. Mark Cuban has a house. Everyone from ESPN lives there. Pete Carroll still has a house there. It is just a giant conglomeration. And one of the cooler things is when the Kings won the Stanley Cup in 2000. Oh God, help me, Tom. 8, 9, 5, whatever that was.
Right.
Right in there. Sometime in the 2000s. A lot of the Kings players lived there. A lot of the Dodgers players, the Ducks players. And so we would go to the north end in Manhattan Beach, and you could literally walk in, and after their Stanley Cup reign, everywhere I went, I felt like the Stanley Cup was following me, because it would be at the bar and the players would be at the bar, and those guys love to drink. And
those guys were
Tom, you knew some of those people from way back in the day, right?
Yeah, totally. Still do.
Who all did you play with? Because you played either juniors or in college with some guys that were that played in the league for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, like Matt Green, he lived in Hermosa. He was the
Yeah.
assistant captain of the Kings. He still
Yeah.
lives there. He's still part of the organization. I think he's player development. He's there. There's a bunch of guys. I mean,
Peros was living down there. Shout out to
Yeah.
that stash for the Ducks.
Dustin
Because there was a
Brown
handful
was
of
there.
Ducks. Yeah.
Yep.
Something King was there. Was that Matt or no?
I think so.
Matt,
Yeah.
There's a Matt Green and a Matt King or something like that. Anyways, but those guys you could always tell when you hit the hockey players' houses when you're walking on the Strand. You'd just be walking, we'd be headed to the bar, like, hey, you want to walk down the street? Or you want to walk down the Strand? Obviously, we're going to walk by the ocean, right? Way better views. And then you start walking by and you start hearing all this music and you see all these just massive humans standing around, staggering around, throwing each other over over brick walls. You're like, what's going on? Oh, that's the Kings and some of the other guys, a couple of Ducks in there, just hockey players being hockey players. So you guys just don't ever get rid of that, because even after your hockey days, you're still you'd get a little cranked up, and it was just like a bull in a china shop. It was just bang, bang. You're ready to grab somebody up and sling them around the room for no reason at all, just to get your rocks off. Like, so that's something that you'd never get rid of, huh?
Some people don't. Some do. I have some crazy stories. Like, I feel like it's gotten a little softer. Like, honestly, the league and the players. Like, there was times when I was in college when, we'd have the older guys that are all Canadian, and it's a small world, the hockey world. So they'd invite their friends, after their season, they were playing in the NHL or wherever. They would come, and some of those guys, like, those are the craziest guys I've ever met. I think I told you the story about when there's this guy, I forget his name. God, he was from British Columbia. But we're at a bar, and I'd never met this guy. My friend's like, dude, he's a psycho. And I'm like, fuck, because he's huge. He's like enormous. And it's like, we're about to leave, go to another bar, whatever. He goes, hey, who's the toughest guy in this bar? And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And nobody says anything because he's a psycho. And so he says it again.
Because he's a psycho.
Yeah, he says it again. And then finally somebody's like, what the fuck's up? I am. What's up? He goes, good, take over. I'm leaving.
That's
awesome.
so good. You had us in the first half. Definitely.
I'm gonna recycle that next time in the bar, because obviously I'm definitely the toughest dude there. So it'll be even funninger.
Yeah, it'll
It's
be
the same guy
that-
but you've got the personality that'll be really funny when you do it, especially if you get real serious and you're like, hey, and you get real stern with them. That'll be really good. So
how much drinking did you, oh, sorry, go ahead. How much drinking did you do? How much drinking did you do versus how much hockey playing you did? And were those two tied together? Like, were you just hammered? There's no nutritionist during this time, because you're around our ages, or definitely Mars's age. And his, as soon as practice was over, he was like, let me go eat and drink some beer before I go back to the mountain in 5 days.
Yeah, it was a lot. It normally took place on Sundays because we'd have games, Friday, Saturday. So Thursday, you're not going to drink. So basically it was Sunday through Wednesday were kind of go days for us.
Just like Hermosa. Yeah.
Yeah. Sundays we'd go to TGI. Fridays, they had like dollar beers all day. We would just watch football, and it was a blast.
Get cranked.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because one of the things that because you definitely practice, because what you did was not only terrorize people on the ice. We would go into bars, y'all, and Tom would get a little lubed up, and he would spot another redheaded fella or female at the bar, just at someone else. Another ginger would show up at the bar, and Tom would make the announcement that there can only be one. And it was a ginger challenge. And we would go to this ginger and we would inform them that they have been challenged to a ginger challenge, which is a beer chugging contest. And losers got to go. Get the fuck out. Losers got to go.
Ever.
And Tom was undefeated until one night he was a little cranked up already. It was wing night. We were having our weekly man night where we had wings and drank out of pitchers. And Tom was already a little bit ready to go. You know, he was a little off his game. And in rolls a gentleman in his wheelchair with red hair. And Tom said, "There is no discrimination. There can only be one." And he walked over to that gentleman and he said, "Sir, I have come to inform you that you have been challenged to a ginger challenge, and it's a beer drinking challenge, and the loser's got to go." And this dude said, "Let's bring it on out. Let's have it." And he went on to absolutely gorilla bang this beer in about 0.2 seconds. And Tom about halfway to the point, it beat him so bad that he looked at him like mid-beer.
Where did it go?
What was that? And puts it back down. And Tom's like, we got to go, guys. We got to get out of here.
That hurt the ego, but I swear that dude was just rolling around in a wheelchair because he's like a professional drinker. And
Lost the feeling in his legs.
He's waiting on the
earlier in
challenge.
I think I got had.
Had nothing to do with all the
You got,
drinks he
yeah,
had
you've been
before.
bamboozled is what happened, I think.
Well, it was that, and then I swear I got crushed by a girl like soon after.
Yeah.
So you just
Yeah.
start, you start
You
questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Who are you? What
Yeah.
are you doing?
Mhm.
What are you doing?
Are
Where
you
have
only
you
ginger?
have you lost it? Is this it? Is this what the decline feels like?
Is your
Have
hair
we-
still red?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are some deep looks in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long stares in the mirror. What was funny is though, at the same time, and I hate to go back in time this far, but Alex's girlfriend at the time had fire red hair and a lot of it. at the
R.I.P.
time.
That's why I like
And-
Tom. I like those redheads and Johnny.
And so yeah, I see a pattern here, folks. He might have a type, but she would always want to challenge you too. She'd always like, "Ginger challenge," and we were like, no. Like, it's not really a challenge. It's kind of like
She was pretty bad.
it's like the Clippers thinking it's a rivalry. You know what I mean? It's not,
Exactly.
got to win a couple times. You know what I'm saying? But dude, we had some absolute epic times in Hermosa Beach, and I think back to the limos that we got picked up in and ended up in Malibu, and James Forbes walks over to Mickey Avalon and
There
was
it
like,
is.
"What's up, ladies?" And he popped up in his like little tight breeches. He said, "Hey, I'm a man." So we had some times. We've done some stuff that we can remember, and I bet you a bunch of stuff that we can't. But at any rate, you're here because you know hockey is way better than me. Alex is always carrying the load on when we talk about hockey on the show. So I'm so glad that you were here because I want to quickly talk about the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. We've got the Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. Obviously, the 8-seed Panthers. It's crazy that they're even in the conversation, let alone in the finals. But they've been waxed twice in a row to start this finals. So I want to start off with kind of your thoughts on this series, and then I want to work backwards a little bit into the playoffs because I know that I don't even know who you like and who you keep up with, and if they were even
The
in playoffs.
Avalanche.
I like Colorado Avalanche.
That's
I was
right.
pretty
Colorado fan.
happy last year.
They won the cup last year. For those
short,
of you who don't know,
short-lived, right?
yeah,
It
it was
is.
an atrocity against a much better team, but it's okay.
You got 2 years ago, and the year before that's Lightning. You got the Avalanche, and I'll be honest with you. This finals, I was obviously expecting the Vegas to be the better team. They were all season, so eventually that regression to the mean. Eventually, you would think that the better team prevails in hockey in a 7-game series, but Florida hasn't had went on a tear after they what was it, game 4 against the Bruins. Right after that, they just absolutely went on a tirade through the playoffs.
11-1. Yep.
Yeah, out of nowhere. And I'm like, what do you? I mean, that's not very common in hockey. I feel like chalk kind of carries the load in hockey a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's an incredible run, especially in the playoffs, especially for them, 8th seed.
Yeah, and I mean, was it the goalie or was it the offense? Like, because sometimes you talk about the goalie getting hot, and you get a hot goalie, and you can win a lot of games with a hot goalie if he's just an absolute brick wall back there. But I mean, I don't know much about the Panthers. Obviously, they came onto the scene way later after I start. By the time I started paying attention to the Panthers, I didn't have time to catch up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know much about them either, and I haven't even watched them. I'm not going to say I watched them go through the playoffs, but I do know that it's probably a little bit of both. Your goalie, if he's standing on his head every night, it kind of starts there, and then the momentum and the confidence just kind of goes through everybody. And I think when you're rolling, if you're rolling at the right time, which I feel like they were, and I don't think they're out of it yet. They're going home. They've got a really good record at home, but they need to figure out their shit quick because they look like a bunch of idiots out there. Well, not only are they losing, but they're playing stupid, and it's borderline.
Explain a little bit. Help me out, because treat me like the idiot I am when you start talking about hockey, playing stupid, doing this and that. Because I mean, it looks like me. They just slide the puck out there and start slapping it, and here we go. It's off to the races until somebody gets it in the net. Now I understand that there's way more strategy in it. Alex did a good job of explaining to me some of the strategy in soccer when they start to do different things and different attack methods and plans like that. So when I'm playing hockey, take me on the ice. Are y'all running plays? Are y'all running like a motion offense? Do y'all have if you pass it, you got to go this way? Like, walk me through, like, what are y'all doing? Like, if they're clicking on offense, what does that mean?
It just means that they have confidence, I think, in themselves and their teammates. And it's almost like the more confident you get, the more you can count on the guy you're playing with being in the spot where he needs to be, because there's not a lot of set plays. You're not coming up the ice during a game. Like during a power play, if they've got a man advantage, there's some set plays off a face-off. Like in the offensive zone, there'll be some set plays, but most of it's, off the cuff. And it's really motion.
It's so like you look at go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, when I say you're clicking with your guys, it's just it's really that confidence and, like I said, knowing that the guy's going to be where he needs to be, and you just kind of mesh with your group. And
that you get to that point where it's like that Joker, when he drives to the lane, that he's also looking to pass. So I need to be cutting to the basket or getting to my spot, because he's likely to pass it as he is to put it up. And if I'm not in that spot. Yeah, if I'm not in that spot, he's not going to want to pass it to me the next time. But if somebody's making a breakaway left, or breaking left or passing left to open up a spot for you got to make sure your ass is in it, because if they flash it in front of the goal, or they call it the crease, right? They flash it up there in the front. You got to be there. That's the reason why I hit it over here first, right? It's like Gretzky said. It's not reason he was great was because he was never like. Good players are where the puck is. Great players are where it's going to be. And,
Amen.
And that was why he was always better, because he was always trying to stay one step ahead. And if you've got a player like that, like your basketball correlation, like with the Joker, if you got a player like that that's as dominant as he is, that attracts that much attention, it sets you up to have an elevated role, but you've got to be there. You got to do that, and you got to get that continuity. So that's what it's more like a motion offense, like in basketball, than it is a run play number one. We're going to pass it over here and go that way.
No, it's off the cuff, and that's why it's so fun. Like, this is my favorite time of year, watching the NBA playoffs and NHL back to back. Yeah, like it's great because it's like free form sports, really.
Yeah.
There's no set plays, and they're just out there doing their thing.
Especially not in basketball.
Right.
So you got Avalanche won last year. Like, you looking like you might be in a spot for the Nuggies to get their first championship this year. Could be a couple of good years. Could be a good year for Denver. I'll ask you this question as a Denver fan that's been a fan for life. Did they retire Melo's 15, or do they retire Jokic's 15?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. I really don't know.
I think if he wins the championship this year, then sorry, Melo, we will remember you great kindly, and when we talk about you, we'll speak well. But as far as that 15 jersey, it's going to be real tough to just put up a guy because he had some scoring titles and made a couple all-star teams. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's right.
He's an all-timer, but, like, let's be honest.
But everyone's so soft now, so they'll probably just do both. Like
Yeah.
everyone needs their
exactly.
participation trophy. That's how it is. Or, it could go a million different ways. So I have a feeling they'd probably just do both just to.
They'll have Melo come back for one game and wear 16 or something so they can retire it.
We're 14 just to spite him. So back to hockey though. Has there ever been anybody come back in the Stanley Cup Finals from the 2-0? I mean, I'm sure 2-0's probably been done. 3-0 ever? I mean, it's been done in different levels of the playoffs, but I didn't know if it ever been done in the finals.
That's a professor question, I think.
Yeah.
It's not my bag.
It's definitely like down 2-0. The odds are like 64-5 or something or other. So it's possible it has been done before. I honestly still think this is going to go 6 games. And the Panthers last year were the President's Trophy winners. So they had the most points in the league last year. So it's not like they came out of nowhere.
Right.
But they didn't have the greatest season this year, similar to Colorado, who played really well last year, but had so many injuries throughout the year this year. And you guys are both right, 100% right. And Nick, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like the best thing that you can do in hockey, like everyone skates really well. There were some players that can skate better. Stick handling ability once you get to the NHL is ridiculous. And obviously you have players that shoot better, that are a little faster, that are incredible, like phenoms. But the mean is just ridiculously good. It's that situational awareness of knowing where to be, being in the right place that sets you apart from everyone else. And for the Panthers, that's Keith Tkachuk. The guy's a absolute beast. He's got a great personality. His brother plays for, I don't even remember, Calgary, maybe. His dad's a Hall of Famer.
He grew up with Jimmy Butler, right? Aren't they boys?
Yeah. Grew up with
Did the last play?
No, it wasn't. It was Jason Tatum.
Tatum. It was Tatum.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. What was it?
Yeah, it's Jason Tatum.
At any rate, the last play I saw of the game last night, I flipped it on. It was 4-0 Vegas, and I was like, "What did we do?" And then, like, as soon as that happens, like, this guy, I think it was Eichel, maybe he was full speed, toe picks, and then just launches forward right as Tkachuk was coming towards him, and center ice just
boom.
Decleated this dude. They had to go and review it and see if it was malicious, but then they saw that this dude was trying to, once he looked up and saw him, he like tried to like protect himself, and when he did, his left skate just clipped the toe, and he just went Superman right into this guy.
But that's not, he got a game misconduct, so like 10 minutes out, which you don't go to the penalty box for. You go to the locker room and sit back there for 10 minutes,
cool off. You go to timeout
and cool off. But it wasn't, that hit wasn't what sent him off. It was that afterwards everyone tried to stand up for Eichel, and Tkachuk started just, punching people like you do in hockey. Straight up Tom move. So then he goes and he sits on the bench.
Tom Watkins on everybody.
goes to the locker room for 10 minutes, comes back, scores a goal. 4 minutes later, gets into another fight, another 10-minute misconduct. And at that point in time, there wasn't 10 minutes left to go in the game. So he just got kicked out. In the last 2 games, the man has gotten 3 10-minute misconducts, which is straight Tom Watkins status.
Well, he's getting his money's worth. There's no doubt about
there it
that.
is. He's got, if the Panthers are going to win, they have to do a lot of things differently. But Tkachuk needs to stay on the ice like the entire time. He can't miss like 10-minute breaks in each period.
Yeah, we got to keep you out there.
You can't give Vegas power plays. I mean, they've got a lot of power play goals. They're good.
When he goes off for 10 minutes, do they have a 10-minute power play?
No.
They just replace him for that 10-minute period. He just can't even be anywhere.
He's just feeling shame.
Yeah. They've just back there. They're going, shame, shame, shame. And he's like, y'all need to shut up. I'm going to come back out there and score one, and I'll be right back. Like, maybe they got good popcorn back there.
But the Panthers have been aggressors during the entire playoffs, and they beat the best team in hockey in the history of hockey, the Boston Bruins. After going down, I think 3 games, they came back and won them all. But they have been the aggressors in every game until they played against Vegas. And now Vegas is basically like, no, we're the aggressors. And the Panthers don't know what to do. It's incredible how many defensive goals have been scored in these first 2 games by by Vegas. Like the first game, I think every goal was a defensive goal, which is ridiculous. But they're screening the goalie, Bobrovsky, and it's hard to see the puck when someone's standing in front of you. Right, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, completely. And the first 3 goals, I was talking to my brother about it. He's in Vegas, so he's like on the bandwagon. But it's just like a lot of times, for instance, the first goal that Florida scored was a complete fluke. It went off like a Vegas dude's knee and then another Vegas dude's skate and then into the goal. And that shit happens. But the first 3 Vegas goals were like absolutely beautiful, like snipes. And it's because they're getting a lot of screens in front of the net. Like the goalie was still like looking for the guy to shoot, and it had went around him already.
And in the net.
Okay, so let me ask some other obvious questions here. So that puck, how much does that puck weigh?
I don't know. Good question.
Oh God!
But it is not bigger than it's only what 3.5 inches wide.
Yeah,
but like maybe 3/4,
like that.
2 pounds.
Yeah, 2 pounds of pure rubber. That thing is coming in hot.
It hurts.
You guys. I was gonna say, I bet it has to happen because these guys are sliding and flailing across, taking it in
that shit wasn't really prevalent when I played, and if it was,
God, right?
No part in that. I'm not laying down in front of a slap shot, but guys now, it's incredible how many shots they can block and how many goals they save by doing so.
Yeah,
but they're just putting their.
Do you think they have a different equipment? Do you think they have more protection and different in that side of the knee area and some of those areas that are kind of exposed?
That they definitely have better equipment, but it doesn't matter if that thing gets you like, especially around the feet. Like that was the worst.
Oh, right on the ankle with about a 200 mile an hour puck. Because it's not coming in slow. Their slap shots are 100 plus mile an hour slap shots.
100, I'd say an average is like 98.
So the knuckle puck is what, about 70?
Yeah. Just kind of moving all over.
It's knuckle puck time. I used to love the Mighty Ducks. That was the only time that I thought I was going to do hockey was when the Mighty Ducks came out. And
we all did.
I was out there rollerblading with my hockey stick.
Alex, did you tell me that there's a new 30 for 30? Was that you? There's a Mighty Ducks 30 for 30 coming out.
Oh, there's a Mighty Ducks 30 for 30 coming out.
Tonight was Bill Walton. I wanted to watch that. There's a special on Bill Walton on ESPN tonight.
Yeah, the happiest man alive or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
God.
We watched the American Gladiators last week.
Oh, me too. It's a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Hey, so would this be the first championship for either club, or has Vegas won one?
No, Vegas got to the finals their first year.
Yeah, first year and lost. So this will be it would be the first championship for both clubs. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, Florida went in 93, 95, somewhere about with Pavel Bure way back in the day. I think it was 95, maybe. One team has come back from a 3-0 deficit in the Stanley Cup Finals. Tom remembers this. 1942, the Toronto Maple Leafs overcame a 3-0 lead to the Detroit Red Wings.
That was our first year in Hermosa. That was amazing.
we were getting lit.
But the Kings went on a little run there for a while where they went down 3-0, I swear, like every round and won in 7 games. Yeah. But that wasn't the final. That was, they came back in the Western Conference final. Western Conference first round against the Sharks. They went down 3-0, and that was 2014. Yep.
That was a lot of fun watching when the Kings were on a roll those couple of years like that.
Yeah, that's when
great for the city.
You taught me hockey. That going to those Kings game because we'd play the game where everybody would take a couple bucks and somebody would be holding the money. When the whistle blows, you got to pass the money, and whoever's holding the money when somebody scores a goal keeps the money. That's so it only takes a couple of rounds before you're like, wait a second, they blow the whistle and you got to pass the money. You're like, whoa, what happened here? You know what I mean? Like, wait, what? And they're like, oh, that's icing, or they were offsides, or there was this, or is that? And you're like, what does that even mean? And so that you because they're taking your money, then you're like, I want to know why, right? So that's how I kind of learned the basics of the rules of hockey, was because even back then we were degenerates, gamblers, and that's all we
Start
were
them
doing.
young, kids. Start them young.
Start them young, kids. So we're going back to Florida. Do you think that changes I mean, with Florida being the aggressor, being back home, do you think that I haven't looked at any records home and versus away in the playoffs, but home ice tends to have a pretty big factor in hockey. I know that Bridgestone is rocking when people come to play the Preds here in Nashville. Yep. And everybody, even though we're not necessarily the best, a hockey town, we create an environment at the games that is absolutely an advantage for the Predators. You come into this building, especially in the playoffs, we're going to blow the roof off of that place, redneck style. And it makes a difference. There's players that have played against us that hated it here, and then they get traded here, and they're like, "Oh, we fucking love playing here,"
Yeah.
And so it makes a difference. You go to St. Louis, and it sounds like they're having church. It's like, other than the Blues, like other than that, they're really kind of just hanging out, eating their popcorn.
Until the playoffs, though.
You can hear people chewing. But all right, so I'm done with the joke. So so in Florida, do you think that gives them an advantage, Alex?
Wait, were those jokes?
Do what?
Were those jokes?
No.
Zing.
Yes, they were.
I missed the punchline.
They're just not funny. That's the problem, Tom.
That's funny.
I
think they've got a couple days off. They need to get back and be healthy. They had a ton of time off because they swept in the last round. And so they thought that was going to help them out, or maybe they almost, no, I think they did sweep. So they've got a big injury. Radko Gudas, who honestly is like a big, bigger, darker, longer hair version of Tom, probably slightly meaner too. The guy's a beast.
Hair, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what kind of salad were you rocking in the hockey days? We had what kind of flow? Was it big and long and fluffy and red and big beard, or were you like lean and mean? Like, what was your style?
No, so I got straight hair. It was always long. Like everybody's hair was long back in the day. But there was a point in time where me and my buddy Schneider, he was in the Pittsburgh Penguins system, but we would go get our hair permed just so it would really stick out of the helmets. Shit, I think I got a picture.
The flow.
So I had basically a red afro.
I get a picture of this for later. We'll pop.
We'll
this
post
up.
it. We'll post it on the socials.
Yeah,
I'll find it.
Yeah. So we gotta get a picture of that.
I have a question. How many teeth did you lose?
Oh,
none. I chipped a couple. I got, I think, 3 pretty intense concussions. But no teeth lost.
That's good. That's
were you wearing
sliding back in front of the puck?
Full mask? Like what was the deal back in the day? Because
no, so okay, when you play all like minor hockey up until you're like 17, 18, you have to wear a full mask. Junior hockey, it's like pros. And I played in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it literally, like, we were pros in that town. Like, we had 5,000 plus fans every night. Like, we'd go on radio shows and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Did you say you were in Kearney? Were you in Kearney, Nebraska?
Lincoln.
Okay.
Huskers.
same difference.
No, I played a show at a minor league hockey arena in Kearney, Nebraska. I was wondering if that was a.
Oh yeah, we played them. They were in our league, so I played in that arena.
Yeah, that was one of the bigger places we played that on that tour. At any rate, we drove from Kearney, Nebraska to Sioux Falls, South Dakota for the next tour for the next show. You want to talk about flat?
Sioux Falls also had a hockey team, so I played in that. You probably played in the rink. It's like
we played. So we played a bunch of hockey rinks. So we played in Bemidji, Minnesota's hockey rink. We played in one in Sioux Falls, Kearney, Nebraska. There's one in Iowa that we played in.
Waterloo or Dubuque.
Yeah, Waterloo, Iowa.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, there's a handful that were kind of interesting. There was one in Mason, Ohio. There was another one that was in Syracuse, New York.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we played in a bunch of those places. They were
Go Orange.
Yeah. There's, anyways, what the hell are we even talking about? So yeah. So you were in Lincoln.
Go on.
You're in Lincoln.
Oh, well, we're
Circle it back.
So when you're till about age 17, if you play junior hockey, at the time
Mhm.
you didn't have to wear anything. So I wasn't wearing anything for 3 years.
Just
then-
a helmet or nothing at all? You were going.
No,
Just
You'd have to wear a
afro.
helmet.
Just flying around like Jackie Moon, just floating around, just slinging that thing.
But then it's weird because once you play college, you have to put on a full mask again, which kind of sucks.
I bet it did. It definitely does.
cage.
It fog up? I feel like it'd be fogged up. I'd be breathing hard as hell.
How's that work? How's that work for fighting then? Do you just like
There's
throw
no
off the
fighting in
mask?
college. I mean, if there is, you get suspended. You get a 10-minute plus the next game.
Oh.
So there's really no fighting in college hockey. There would be like line brawls and
Crazy.
stuff but it's not like you square off. Like in junior hockey, like it was like WrestleMania.
Did you have a penalty of choice? Like your
Not
favorite?
really.
You weren't like, I'm the cross-checking guy because I'm a dick or
No.
something or other. You were like, nah, I'm
No.
gonna hook you in the balls. No.
No, there's kind of like there's like unwritten rules, and a lot of that shit is kind of pussy. Like the cross checks that Florida's been doing a lot recently.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, did you see the Dallas guy when he cross checked?
Ben?
Like,
Yeah.
Their
Ben-
captain.
That's just a no-no. If that wasn't the playoffs, the next game, like first shift, that guy would have
gotten
like your
declared.
Forcer goes out there and beats the shit out of him, and that's just
Yeah.
you govern yourself pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that changing?
I feel like it is. Like if somebody on my team got cross-checked, like I would jump him and beat his ass.
That still happens. You had Tampa Bay when they were playing the Maple Leafs. Same thing happened. Somebody got cross-checked. Everybody went after that guy, ended up getting suspended. But like Steven Stamkos went after Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews has never been in a fight in his entire career.
Right.
And Steven Stamkos is in his 30s and Austin Matthews was what, 23, 24. And he was like, dude, I'm going after the guy. Kick the crap out of him.
Yep.
That old
But,
man strength.
I mean, that's kind of like that hit that you were talking about that you saw, Nick, where he got demolished last game.
Mhm.
If you saw the interview after the game, they interviewed Eichel, and Eichel's like, dude, that was a good hit. Like, what? It's a collision game. Like, there's things like that you understand it's part of the game, but then there's bullshit like cross checks, slashing, all that stuff. It's like
Boarding.
That's not cool.
And I think that there's an element of that respect that's unspoken and unwritten in a lot of sports. But if you're doing things the right way, like we all understand that this is a full contact sport that we're playing. And if you do, if you're playing the game the right way, then those collisions are going to happen. It's that extra little stuff that, it's that little, that stuff that's going to get somebody hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the stuff that you're like, okay, like if me and you square up, mano a mano and slam into each other at high speed on the ice and one of us gets hurt, that's a risk we were willing to take when we went into this collision. You know what I mean? But if you come by and you slash me in the back of the leg and mess up my, maybe tweak my knee or hit, mess me up or wreck me into the boards, and I get a concussion and I'm out for, 2 weeks or whatever, that's a different story. You could hurt this person like permanently.
Is that considered a cross check? Just from
No, a cross check would be
exactly?
would be with
Cross
both
checks,
hands.
where you're holding your stick like this and just like that.
Using your stick as a weapon. Never a good idea.
No.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure just based on definition and what's defined as, cross checking.
Right.
It's a difficult game to understand. Like if you don't know it, I was born with it, but like even teaching you back in the day, like what's offsides and what are they doing now? What's icing, all that. Like it's not the easiest game to understand, I would say.
No, but when you're sitting there, it's a lot easier to watch and learn.
Right.
At the game. Watching it on TV, it's a little bit harder to follow. But when you can sit in one spot and you can watch the action happen, going back and up and up and down the ice, and you can kind of say, okay, well, here's what the lines are for. If you really simplify it, say, here's what the lines are for, here's what they signify, here's what they can and can't do. Here's what offsides means. Here's what they're, all of that kind of stuff. And you can watch it. It makes it a little bit easier to understand. But before we get out of here, I want to get a couple predictions from you guys on if you think the Panthers can come back or not, because obviously 2-0 is a big hole to come back from. We saw Vegas kind of get a little bit lackadaisical with Dallas and let Dallas kind of creep back into that series. Florida's shown they can come back in the series. What do you think?
Go ahead, Alex.
I think game 3 is pivotal. You win game 3, you're down 2-1, you're a game out. That's a huge,
Gotta win
and
3.
It's a big one. You don't want to go down 3-0. It's almost next to impossible to come back. But if you look at a team that has done it before and who can do it, it's Florida. I'm interested to see, like, Bobrovsky, their goaltender, is fantastic, and he's been standing on his head until really the Stanley Cup. And I'm interested. They pulled him in the last game. I'm interested to see if they'll even put him back in. I'm thinking they will. But it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Like, they need to play their game rather than trying to play the game against the Golden Knights, because they haven't for the first 2 games. So I hate everything Las Vegas. So I'm cheering for the Panthers, even though it's probably not the smartest bet. But I'll go Panthers in 6.
Oh, damn. In 6. They 180 turnaround. Tom?
180.
I'm going Vegas in 5. I think if Vegas can sneak away with 1 win and you go back to Vegas, that's a hard rink. It's like that's a hard rink to play in. That's a lot of travel too for the guys. Like that's not an easy up the coast, it's
across the country.
There's something going on there too. So I think if Vegas sneaks away with 1 in Florida, it's all over by the time they get back.
Yeah, I think they got to get 3. I think, you know what I mean? I think in every sport, it's the hardest one, I think, is to close somebody out.
Absolutely.
But I think that if Florida if they have any chance of winning, they got to get 3. I think it's over in 5 as well. But I think that even if they get 1 out of 2 in Florida and they wrap it up in Vegas. But if Florida's got a shot in hell, they got to get game 3.
They got to do it. And they've been counted out all.
What about you? What about you, Ball for Life?
Yeah. I'm
Super fan.
I'm going for Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alex. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you jumping on the Panthers team, because you know they need it. You're supporting that same state. You're a Tampa guy, so you're supporting that Florida hockey. Attaboy.
How soon? So Tom has a mini me. His son Wilder looks like a smaller version of Tom, and I imagine is just going to be a bruiser, because he kind of already is taking on his older sister already. Tom, when are we starting 2-a-days? How soon do you get this kid on the ice? How quick? How far away is the ice in Huntington Beach out there? Like, when do I need to come over? Because I have no idea what I'm doing actually on the ice, but I'll be there with beers afterwards if necessary.
No, I'm gonna get you on the bench with me. I'll be head coach.
Alex.
You can be the inspiration. You know sports well enough to guide these kids.
Yeah. It's all
I don't know.
vibes and attitudes.
Would you coach like a junior team? How old were you when you got on skates and got out there? And was it your dad that pushed you out there?
Yeah, my dad played hockey. He grew up in North Dakota, where everybody plays hockey.
What else?
Oh, don't you know? Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Oh, hey there, hi there, hold there.
Probably like 3 or 4 years old, you got to get them skating. Skating's the biggest thing. If they can master skating, the rest of the game will come. But
yeah,
you got to be a good skater.
But if they're you got to be a good skater. You
got to get them out there with the bucket.
Fantastic
It's
skater.
hard.
So Tom, thank you, dude. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day. Hopefully you can carve some more time out another time. You can come back and talk to us. Give us your thoughts on something else. I mean, there's no telling what you got, because we've got baseball coming up.
Team.
We've got, it's about almost football season here, a couple of months away. Obviously your Nuggets are in the finals, and we'll keep an eye on that series and everything that's going on there. But you know, in the coming weeks, I want to give everybody a little bit of a quick snapshot of kind of what we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks. We've got some guests coming on next week. We've got my old coach from MTSU, Coach Jim McGuire, is going to come on the show.
Oh, the truth.
We're going to get some stories. He's going to shine some light on my college career, and we'll hear some stories about what he's got going on now as the head coach at Vol State. So we're really excited to have Coach Mags on the show. Next week, hopefully in the next couple of shows, we will get together. Alex will give us we can follow up on some sports business topics from the past. And with one of those sports, we've got, but we talked about the broadcasting rights to the NFL. And I think TV has a big play in this whole blockbuster announcement that we've just heard between the PGA and LIV merging. So we're going to talk about that in detail, about what's going on with that and what we think kind of may have caused it and all of those kind of details. We're looking forward to that. So go follow us on all social media platforms at Nashville Stache and on YouTube at StacheCast. So you can find us at both, but it's a lot easier to track us down at StacheCast on YouTube and at Nashville Stache on the others. So, guys, again, appreciate you guys being here. Final thoughts before we get out of here. Tom, Ginger challenge before we go.
I don't see another Ginger.
No, you win. there can only be one, and you are.
There can only be one.
You are still it, man. Well, I love you guys. Thanks for being here. This has been a blast, and thank you guys for listening. I know you got a lot of choices out there, so thank you for being with us. This is StacheCast, and until next time, we love you big. StacheCast out. Go Panthers.
Yeah, on your UFO. I've been on some other shit, just lost my fucking brothership. Now I think it's time to beam myself back to the mothership. J-Rock is my co-pilot, that's the one that I hover with. Love the way we stubborn, like we rule our own government. We come through so thunderous, like everybody else is under us. I might go like a Chevy when the going gets heavy, but you know what?